Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm back with another Honda Insight tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing y'all how to remove the rear roof molding from first gen Honda Insight. If you're watching this tutorial, I'm assuming that you have the same leak that I do, which is water dripping into your rear hatch during heavy rain. And more than likely, you've already watched Scott Colbith's video on this. I'll have it linked in the description. He has a great tutorial. It's pretty in-depth, but I noticed that when he removed his rear molding piece, essentially the clips were not in the same place. As you can see, if we come to the other side, here is a second set of clips right here, and mine, as you can tell by the tape lines right there, were not touching, but the ones in his video are touching. So I just wanted to clarify that and kind of give a second point of view. Other than that, it's basically identical to Scott's video. You're going to need some pry tools, and you're going to wrap the ends of them in masking tape so you don't scratch up the car. As well, put some masking tape right here so that you don't get the paint on the roof and the C-pillar scratched up. And then from there, what you're going to want to do is grab one of the trim pieces, preferably something strong, and you're going to go ahead and insert it right in here. So from there, like I said, you're going to get your trim removal tool. I like using a thin one like this to kind of start prying it open. Of course, you shouldn't do this, but my paint's clearly not in the best condition. And get the thin one kind of lined up in here so you can try and jam it in. So as you can see there, I got the edge popped up a little bit. So you're gonna move that over to the right if you can. And what I do now is I stick another tool in there to try and get a bit more leeway, we'll say. Let's see. This one.
I'll use this one right here. Almost got it.
There, so now that one's in there. Okay, so you'll see that one has moved up a good bit right there. Okay guys, so I'm gonna do a voiceover here because when I recorded it in person, what I said really didn't make too much sense. As you can see, I'm holding the driver's side roof molding in my hand, and I've already reinstalled the metal tabs that you'll also have to remove. As you can see on screen, there are 3 sections to the metal tab, and where I'm sticking my pry tool right there, that is the middle tab. That's where you're going to be removing. So what you'll need to do is essentially put your metal tool in there, wedge it in where I just had it inserted, and once it is in there, what you're going to do is push the handle of the pry tool that you're holding. You're going to push that up so that the tool essentially pulls it or pushes it the opposite way and releases it from the plastic clip. Like I said, it's really not the easiest way to explain it, but as you can see on screen right now, I am pushing the end of the handle up while the metal tip is on that metal piece, and that is what releases it. If you're doing this removal, you'll be able to look in there with a flashlight and kind of see what I'm talking about, but this is as best as I can explain it without getting a camera in there. And once you've got that removed, what you'll do is just continue moving up the trim piece, and eventually you'll get to the right side. And just take it easy. You don't want to break these because they're not really obtainable anymore. And then you repeat the same step for the second bracket. what you're going to want to do is make sure you don't pull your A-pillar. Don't pull this up. You're going to pull it out to the side, just like that. To remove the metal brackets that are going to be left in there, what you can do is try and release the 3M tape by setting some acetone or some isopropyl alcohol on it. I decided to just go ahead and stick a screwdriver in there and start wiggling it to pop it off, which, as you can tell, it did work. And then after that, you'll just have to remove the adhesive. You're also going to want to clean it out so that in case there is any dirt left in there still, when you reapply your new tape, it's going to be able to grab the car. From here, what I'm preparing to do is, I didn't have 3M tape, probably should have got that, but at the end of the day, tape's tape. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out to lay another adhesive right along here. And then I might try and replace those little sections right there with the tiny piece of tape, but we'll see. And then after I have the tape cut and settled on those little bracket pieces, I'm gonna go grab my caulk gun and some popsicles. I'm using a window sealant instead of Honda Bond. Probably, I really should have, but I could have used Honda Bond. And what I'm gonna do is put that all in this channel right here and use a popsicle stick to kind of essentially create a smooth layer so that it doesn't build up and like create a pool of water right here, but there will still be enough flow to let the water drain out through that exit, because I don't want to put so much that it gets pooled right here and then makes the seatbelt leak, if that makes sense. So here is how I have the tape aligned. There wasn't tape originally on the whole angled top section, but I figured why not? What harm is it gonna do to put that on there? So I've got this popsicle stick right there because I need to also use the window sealant to fill in that crack right there on both sides. And I'm gonna have a hard time essentially putting the window caulk down in there because normally this little weather flap is in the way. Obviously you can't take that all off the window, so not gonna worry about that. So from here, I'm gonna get the caulk gun. Okay guys, so it's been about a month and a half, maybe 2 months since I did this job essentially. And looking back, there's only 1 or 2 things I would change. The first one being I would have used Honda Bond instead of window caulk. Not because the Honda Bond I think would have worked better or because the window sealant didn't work. It's just that the bottle that Honda Bond comes in comes with a little thin top, which would have allowed me to essentially squirt the Honda Bond straight into the crevice there instead of having to try and push it in there with popsicle sticks. And the other thing I would do was on the side that the metal brackets get pressed against, I would have put some masking tape on there so that when I was spreading out the sealant, I wouldn't have to worry about trying to not touch the other side. I could have just peeled the tape off and been good to go. And I also would have used 3M tape, like I mentioned at the start of the video. I'm not certain that the Gorilla tape I used was like at fault or is moving around, but just out of my experience, I probably would have gone with 3M instead. But what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I've got the mounting tabs in place. They're pretty secure, and I've got the adhesive in place. And now I'm going to insert the rear roof molding. hoping to hear 2 clicks for each side, but didn't. So I don't know if that's because they both clicked at once or if only one is in. Trying to get it kind of smooth enough to where it will still drain, but also thick enough to where there's no leaks. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the other side. So as you can see here, I'm doing the other side. One thing I want to note that I didn't say in the last clip was that you're going to kind of want to carve out a channel for the rain to drain through. You don't want it to pool up in there. So as you all saw in that last time lapse, I went ahead and put sealant on the rear wiring harness gasket to control the wiper blades and the rear defroster. Right in here. I do need to clean that up, obviously, but I just want to let everything seal up right now before I do that. During the time lapse, I did hear both of the things click into place. So I'm just gonna let this sit overnight, and that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for watching. I know this isn't my best video, honestly, but at the end of the day, I wanted to help give a second perspective as to how to do this.